got one more segment to talk
One
about.
last thing to talk
Unofficial,
about.
official critiques for Spider-Man No Way Home.
We haven't
It was
done one of these
released
segments in months. I think the last one we did may have been on the Christopher Nolan Batman series. I know we did one of those.
You know what? You know, it's a great series that we should do this on, and we need to have Matt and Tommy on for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, you definitely need Matt and Tommy
on
that one.
Because during last night's Super Bowl, they aired the first trailer for Amazon's new upcoming series that's going to air in the fall.
Was it a trailer or was it just a teaser? I thought it was just a teaser.
Technically a teaser. So, but either way, first teaser for the new Lord of the Rings show, which I'm extremely excited about. No, that's not what
I couldn't tell from your Twitter page.
No?
I couldn't tell because between the Star Wars tweets and the Lord of the Rings series tweets, it's
hard to tell. Yeah,
I know. Anyway. It's hard to tell that you're a Marvel fan with the amount of tweets.
I'm clearly a DC fan.
Clearly, well, I am too. But
I know. Anyway, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yes,
I've seen it twice now. I saw it the second night it came out, and then I saw it again with Whitmer just the other weekend.
Mm-hmm. So again, my thought process was, I wanted to see it, but I didn't care enough to go like the first weekend, 3 weekends or whatever, where the theaters are just going to be mobbed and everything.
100%. That's Matt and I.
Yeah, it is you guys, but there's certain movies where I was just like, I'll see it when I see it. I'll go when it's a little less crowded or whatever.
I'll put it this way, and it helps for you because you have way less to lose because you don't, like you mentioned a couple times to me, you don't follow enough pages on social media where it could get spoiled for you, you know?
No. And some of the things I already the other things I kind of already thought were going to happen in it, happened in it.
Now, again, for those who have not seen it, if you happen to be watching this, please see it before. This is your spoiler alert warning. It's been out for quite a bit now, so if you happen to somehow of all videos find this before seeing it or anything like that,
I hope you find this video. God,
I'm saying if someone happens to find this video before even seeing the movie, I would be a little surprised. But hey, whatever. Anyway, spoiler.
Yeah. I know there's some people that do that too. Like where they'll actually listen to people's reviews or synopsis of it just to get a better understanding before.
Exactly, and I do like that. So, but this is, if you haven't seen it and you haven't been watching or listening, this is 100%
we'll try to stay as spoiler free as possible, but it's just going to happen. There's going to be spoilers in this.
Exactly. So,
but the long-awaited thing that waited 2 weeks after we saw it. yeah,
right. But honestly, at the same time, it helped give you, more of your thoughts and everything with thought process in general, what you like. So, so my biggest thing from the trailers alone, I like that they teased the villains, but it also gave you a clear idea on the plot.
I saw very
for the most part, like you didn't know the exact part of what was going to happen, at every single scene, but you had a good understanding of, Doc Ock's, and it's Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. It's, what do you know? There's a hint at Green Goblin, and at some point during the trailer or teaser they showed, it was, what do you know? William Dafoe's Green Goblin and everything like that. And there was Electro, that was Jamie Foxx's Electro. So you had a pretty good understanding on, these guys are in it. Then the other two.
That's why I stopped watching the trailer 15 seconds into it. I don't want to know this. I want to go in kind of as clear as unknown as possible. But I think the thing that hurt that more was this was one of those movies that just got moved back because of the pandemic and everything. Yeah. I think if it doesn't get moved back, I think some of those things, because I saw through Twitter from the very few pages that would tweet it saying Alfred Molina is in this and Willem Dafoe are reprising their roles. So if they're reprising their roles and Jamie Foxx,
then you have a very good chance.
Then they're obviously going to be in it, because there's no way you're going to do a Spider-Man movie, have them and not them in it.
Right. Now, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I wasn't really looking forward to a possible Spider-Verse esque movie with all three Spider-Man in it, because I mean, I it's not that
I
I
like the
hate
idea. I like the because
I like
I'm
the
always kind of
idea,
into the multiverse kind of things in some of the comic books, but that's just me. I kind of
right?
like that.
But like the more I kept like watching the movies and everything, and also the more I really watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I thought, you know
Yeah, I
what,
think that's more so why
this
they did it. It's because of the Spider Verse's
exactly,
success.
and I was like, you know what, this actually will be a freaking unbelievable idea. I would like to see how they pull it off, and I thought they did a good job with it. So no, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah,
Um, so probably the biggest takeaway besides Andrew Garfield and Tobey McGuire Spider-Man is coming back is no. So
Tobias.
what? And and so when they first appeared on the screen, what was your initial reaction? Where it was like you tell it was happening, if something was happening, like with the
You
portals
can
and
kind
everything
of
with things.
tell. Yeah, it was kind of. See, my fear, and I'll get to my thinking on that in a second. My fear with how they introduced everyone and brought everyone in was like I didn't want it to be similar to that of Force Awakens and that saga of Star Wars, where they brought those characters back, but didn't really like how they brought those characters back. Because to me, it's a more like, oh, there's Leia, there's Han, there's Luke,
Yeah,
instead of those guys having their or being like into that universe more. Because that is kind of my
right.
thing on that one. But to me, how they brought it in, I at first was kind of iffy on it, but the more I thought about it, I kind of like it more as how they did it. Um, because I feel like the scene you kind of had an idea was going to happen. Like
Right.
there's a split second where like, is that him? Like because obviously
Yeah.
his
For the first portal and everything, of course, when Ned and MJ are calling him Peter, and everything like that, you
yeah
see, Spider
it
Man
finds
and
Peter,
like
it finds
looking
a Peter. Yeah,
and to be fair, it kind of does remind me of a bit of Tom Holland Peter's inner mannerisms,
mm-hmm.
where it's like, that's something he would kind of do, is like he's looking, like that. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Right.
And so as soon as he got closer
But
and
then when you
closer, like,
realize he's not running towards the thing because he knows what the thing is in terms
yeah,
of the portal or whatever from for Doctor Strange, that he would obviously Tom Holland would or that Peter Parker would run towards it
yeah.
because he knows something's up or whatever.
Right, exactly. But then, and also, of course, as he got closer and closer, you saw Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man suit's like, it's like, oh shoot, this is Andrew Garfield's Spider. So no, I thought like when seeing that for the first time, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then having Tobey McGuire just kind of like walking through the portal as he did, that was it was to me, it was kind of well done, because that's the kind of performance, however you want to call it, that Tobey Maguire, Spider Peter Parker, what have you, where he walks
Yeah.
through the port. What's this is cool, but what is this?
Right. Exactly.
So no, it was definitely a little comedy. Like, oh, it's
Obviously,
just closed. Yeah,
and there's those
yeah,
memes that came out since
yeah,
then of like or like cheering for or being more excited for Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's
yeah.
Spider-Man's and all that. But that I actually liked. I kind of liked how they did that. You can make the argument that it was a little cheesy, but
Oh, for
at the
sure.
same
You
time,
absolutely can.
you also have to realize that all the Tom Holland Spider-Mans have cheesy lines in it. So it was just probably
Yes.
going to happen.
So it was fitting. So there's
Yeah, it was
that.
just fitting.
Um,
And I liked just going off that, like later in the movie when all three of them are together, I like the mannerisms of all three. I liked how they brought
yes.
their own like characters and all that. They kind of reference little things from their own kind of
Worlds.
versus those worlds.
So like one of my favorite ones was how Tom Holland mentions he fought an alien, and in
In
space,
space.
clearly
Yeah.
referencing Thanos, and then because Tobey Maguire Spider-Man brought up,
Mm-hmm.
like I fought this black alien, black gooey alien, talking about the
Yeah.
Venom and everything. And Andrew Garfield's like, whoa, he's like, I want to fight aliens.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great reference, but also really kind of funny too and comical.
But you also realize at the same
it,
time that all three in some way are, as much as they are Spider-Man, they also are kind of nerdy. They're all smarter. So when it came to making the formula or whatever, it just kind of made sense because
So one of probably my biggest thing, and I love this, the more I thought about it and watched it again, it really hit home even more. Was the idea of second chances was the theme for me throughout this movie, because and it was even a reference, like there was an exact line or two times where it says like something about a second chance. And the more you kind of look into the story and the actual movie and how it unfolds, it's true. So I immediately cut to the ending where, as MJ falls off that tower, or off the Statue of Liberty, excuse me, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man saves her. And that's his second chance, because he did not save Gwen Stacy, aka his MJ, in his universe. And that's why it's such a meaningful scene when, after he catches her and looks her in the eye and knowing, oh my gosh, like I caught her, like she's saved, he got redemption. And when, after he asked MJ, she's like, are you okay? And he nods, but like, and it's such a powerful scene there. So that was his redemption. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, in the meantime, he got his second chance because in the OG Spider-Man, Green Goblin dies, of course, by his own blade, or glider, however you want to put it. But by looking at it, I'm sure Tobey's Spider-Man would not have wanted that. So he got his second chance of saving Norman Osborn from the death of his glider again. So I thought that was awesome. Now for Tom Holland's, it's kind of tougher. What would you consider, if he had a second chance, what would you consider his second chance if he had one? It's clear the other two Spider-Man's second chances were, but I don't know about Tom Holland's Spider-Man,
Yeah, that one's a little more iffy because the whole movie, it's just kind of him kind of giving himself that second chance kind of thing.
And maybe that's it too, is maybe the second chance to, I guess, correct what Mysterio originally did.
Yeah, but
I guess that's what you can say.
As much as I kind of like that, I also didn't love that either, in terms of how they did it. Like giving the villains the second chance, I didn't really like that.
It was interesting for sure.
Yeah, that's just because, to me, just in general, just to throw this out there already, I thought it was good, not great.
I think that's fair.
I think there were little things they could have done differently that could have made it great.
Yeah,
like I felt like I like that ending. I like the Andrew Garfield moment. I like the moment where Peter and Tom Holland have like that moment, or Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland have that moment right before he gets stabbed.
Yeah,
spoiler. So because he pretty much went through that himself.
Yeah, and also another big scene that I loved was when they meet on the rooftop for the first time, and the emotion behind the Uncle Ben story, essentially, and and all of that. I loved how they shared their perspectives and everything, and you could tell how it really changed.
I like how they shared, because he was saying they don't know how he feels because he just lost Aunt May. Spoiler again, but. And then they just share their losses.
Right, exactly.
Garfield losing Gwen Stacy, obviously Uncle Ben.
Right. But I thought the way they did that was great.
I don't mind that she died. I didn't love the way she died. I didn't care that she said, with great power comes great responsibility, such a famous line in all the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
To me, the thing that made this Spider-Man, the Tom Holland version, so great is that they didn't do things from the original.
Yeah,
and you can still have that emotional moment. And I get that's her thing of saying, like, obviously you have great power or whatever, because that's the battle he's trying to have in himself with trying to be a great hero and all this and making the right decision. but I felt like when that's happened, like I almost said "fuck you" in the theater. Like, oh, why'd you do that? Because like I don't mind her again. I don't mind her dying because it just showed a lot of emotion out of Tom Holland's Peter Parker.
It's the line that you had to issue with.
It was the line. I feel like you could have, if you wanted her to say that line, maybe have it earlier in the movie, because all that did to me was just bring me back to Uncle Ben's death scene.
You're not
and
wrong.
That's why I didn't like, because the whole time, this whole series has been a little different.
Yeah,
I get the nod, but I just didn't like it.
I think if they did it a little bit differently, it would have been better.
Yeah,
because honestly, I never really thought about that.
To me, it just seemed it seemed very similar to the.
It's kind of rushed in a way on how they did it, where it's like, now, like you said, I think if they mentioned it way earlier in the movie, it would have been, again, cool nod and at an appropriate time.
Yeah,
because when she mentions it, she's like,
she mentions it, and since she dies,
exactly, she's like basically getting ready to die. Like, it was at the point where she got her side, hit by the glider and everything, and she like basically is about to die and everything. And so I think that if they mentioned it earlier in the movie, that would have been a better way to go about it.
Again, that's kind of just what I think. If they do that a little differently, then you could do that. And because of that, maybe to me, it's because that's how my mind went. To me, that wasn't as emotional to me, just maybe because that's where my head went. But it was still an emotional scene because he just lost Aunt May. Sure. He sees Happy come up, and he knows immediately that.
Yeah, and honestly, it was the way they did that scene with Happy, and hearing him scream to get out of there.
Yeah,
Jon Favreau was spectacular, and I thought in that scene in particular, because
that's such an underrated statement, Jeffrey. I've never heard that said about Jon Favreau. It's not like he's made Star Wars better. It's not like anything he touches, it just turns into gold. He kind of started the whole thing with Iron Man.
Try platinum, sir. Yes. But anyway, but no, just the way he portrayed and he, like, just that pure raw emotion was just unreal. I freaking love Jon Favreau. Anyway,
who cannot? Is there anyone who doesn't love Jon Favreau?
That is a great question.
Honestly, if you do, I hate you. I'll just say that there. If you find this video and he comments saying you hate Jon Favreau, I hate you. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great response right there. we should do a lot of merchandise where it's like, your quote earlier, tell me, but then this one, you hate Jon Favreau, I hate you.
But we should start a merch line and do all that.
That's great.
All of our any sayings that we have or anything.
Yeah, and then there should be like just some interesting pictures of.
I have a good one. It doesn't make any sense.
I would love to hear
anyone listen to the podcast, but it would make all three of us laugh.
Oh no!
You know when we play Halo, and when you're it, you have this giant sigh.
Yeah,
just to show that a sigh.
If only we should do it where it's like, so just any of you name. It's typically Brian asks, then we have Brian. Who's it? Jeff. Sigh.
What do you think?
Or who do you think? Something like that. That would be ideal.
It would be an inside joke, but it would make
us laugh. It would be funny for us. I would be happy. Anyway, final thoughts on Spider-Man No Way Home. A couple things. The end credit scene, that was pretty interesting. So I don't know if you saw Venom 2, Let There Be Good.
I didn't either. I truthfully, because in the trailers they didn't look great. So like I have no real interest. I like Tom Hardy.
I love Tom Hardy. I hate how they did the Venom movies though. The first one I thought it was decent. Second one I didn't see. I just saw the end credit scene online, to be honest. But so anyway, in the end credit scene there, it was very interesting for Let There Be Carnage, because Venom and Eddie are essentially sitting in like a hotel room in Mexico or something like that. Before
like
you know
some
it,
bar or something like that.
no.
Gotcha.
Sorry, this isn't No Way Home. This is that Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Gotcha.
So there's so much going on. But anyway, so they're in in the hotel somewhere, and they're hanging out in the bedroom. And then before you know it, the whole room shifts and changes, and he's like, "Oh, like what's going on?" or anything. Basically, it's like to mine. I don't know exactly what happened. If I had to guess, he got blitzed essentially, or some way somehow he got transformed into the MCU world, where and because all of a sudden you see everything changed to like it's more modern look, including the TV, which shows Tom Holland Spider-Man get revealed as from Spider-Man is Peter Parker after Mysterio revealed him. And that was a big deal in that movie. So then for the end credit scene for Spider-Man No Way Home, you go back to that hotel bar where Eddie's back in Mexico and everything like that, or something, something like that. And then he essentially, I'm sorry, not sorry. He's like, I guess in present day New York or something like that. And then before you know it, he's telling the story to the bartender. He just full on randomly disappears. But then the biggest part of the scene, of course, there's a little bit of Venom that got left behind. And that's clearly a big, spoiler, because there's one way or another, Venom is going to, or the symbiote is going to attach to someone. The question is who will it be? There's a lot of, I'm sure there's so much speculation out there. I'm really curious on where they're going to go with this.
Yeah, because they have to, because unfortunately, as great as everyone thinks, the Tobey McGuire Spider-Mans were, Spider-Man 3 wasn't the best.
It wasn't the best.
It was okay. I still enjoyed it too, but there was just it, and the Venom part was kind of the issue with that movie. So I feel like you kind of have to up it a little bit with.
So what I will say, I liked how they did Venom in that movie more than they did the actual Venom movies, because my issue with the symbiote and Venom and Let There Be Carnage, they make Venom too comical. They make him be funny and kind of and talk and everything like that. Like I get the idea behind the talking part, but like I don't understand why you have to make it like a comedy essentially. Mm-hmm. And that's what bugged me a lot about both Venom movies. Again, I didn't see the second one, but the first one, they had a lot of funny scenes, and I was like, why Venom, this symbiote should be absolutely terrifying. Why are you making it like, yeah, I get it was weird how they did it. I thought Sandy did a horrible job with it.
There were two minor things. Sorry, just going back to actual
No
Way Home.
Yeah.
One, I would have loved to see more fighting between Doc Ock and Spider-Man.
Yes.
Didn't love that the way he stopped him was taking over his arms.
And that was pretty much it. I thought it was
kind of a cop-out kind of thing. And that was just an easy way to have him defeat Doc Ock instead of
also,
I said it.
Yeah,
I said it after we saw the movie, and I still feel this way. I didn't love weak. What's his face?
Oh, Green Goblin.
Like I get that, and it was still going off of the original where he's kind of having that battle or whatever. But I feel like even in that one, he wasn't nearly as weak in this one. He still had like some kind of side of him where it was little.
When you say weak, are you saying like where he wasn't as evil, or wasn't like strength wise he was weak?
No, I just thought his mannerisms and how he acted was just not how I saw him in the original Spider-Man.
Got it.
I felt it was very different, kind of different character, and I get it in the sense that maybe it was just because Goblin himself was toying with them and using that against everyone to make them think that he's
right. You never
trying
know
to change or whatever. But those are just little things I thought I would have liked to see more with him with his mask on, but he did break it.
That was one of my biggest things, to be honest, is I would have loved to see more and more with Green Goblin with his actual mask on. Because after the bridge scene, you see William Dafoe's Green Goblin just in the side street behind a dumpster and everything, and he has the mask. Like, I thought the way they had the mask hanging like that was a pretty cool look.
Which is how which is also just going back to the original Spider-Man, is how he had the conversations with it before
on the chair.
Yeah.
But and so I wish he didn't. It was a very cool moment. I wish he didn't destroy the mask there. But
I get the visual though. I get the visual of them. He's trying to get over it.
Right. And what I loved though was, even though he destroyed the mask, you hear the Goblin laugh, meaning even though he destroyed the mask, doesn't mean the Goblin's truly gone. Exactly. So I thought that was really awesome.